Go ahead.
Nick, we've talked about other players going back to teams they've played for in the past and controlling that emotion, but for Saquon going back to where, he still has friends and stuff, what does this game mean to him, do you think?
I'd like to let him answer that question. I know he's going to have to probably answer that question all week. I'm excited for him. Every opportunity he gets to put on this jersey, I get excited for him. I know, obviously there's always emotion in this game. It's an emotional game, and so I think the most important thing for him is just to be able to, all Saquon has to do is go out and be himself, and because he's a hell of a football player, he's a hell of a leader. And so many good qualities that he has. And you want to be able to control the emotions as the game goes, not to be too up, not be too down, but play the next play.
How much did the ideas of what you can do with a running back expand with Saquon?
Yeah, anytime you have a big time running back like that, you always think about how you're going to get the guy the football, and so it's never like, hey, well, this place we ran this, and this place we ran this, and this is what our system is. You do everything you can do to get players the ball, and do things that they do well. I mean, that's the focus of any coach is what do our players do well, and what can we do with them. And so obviously we've looked at backs that we've used in the past and how we've used them in the past, from our different teams and even different teams here. But then you also study some other teams. What does Team A or Team B do to get their running back to the ball? So, and again, it's all about fitting the skill set of your players. Fortunately for Saquon, I don't think there's anything he doesn't do well. Right? He's big, he's strong, he's fast, and he's ultra quick. And that's what you look for in any running back.
Now, because you have a bigger sample size, with different defensive schemes, are you noticing defenses maybe trying to do some different things to try and take Saquon away?
Yeah, anytime you have unique players, a good attack on offense, you're gonna get different things than you see on tape, and we expect that. And we've had a good running game here for a while, so you see different things, and that's been evident of our teams throughout my whole time here. And so you have to be so when that happens, you have to be ready to adjust. Hey, the plan said to do this. Well, sometimes the plan changes, right? And so you have to be ready to adjust with the answers that you have, while still doing what your players can execute well.
Nick, when you offer up that you've called plays that have failed for in certain circumstances, and we spoke to both Kellen and Vic about this, they said that your interaction with them isn't any different than really they've had with other head coaches. What is your objective in putting that information out there?
Yeah, you know what? Sometimes I feel like probably I think, I don't know who said it. John maybe asked me the other day, like, are you giving them too much information? Probably. So I probably won't give that information to you guys anymore.
Get me in trouble.
But probably give you too much information that that's just probably rethink that. I think at the end of the day, I think somebody asked me this, but at the end of the day, I want to be accountable for the things that and make no mistake about it, everything that is on that field and every product that is on that field has my accountability on it. So if there's a mistake on that field, then that belongs to me. As minute as you could think of that mistake being, and I really believe that, and I really think that way, in the sense of like, okay, this guy missed a tackle in space. Well, did I put him in positions to make that tackle? Did I help him with that? And so that's constantly on my mind of how we do that. And so, again, if I want these players to have accountability for the things that they didn't do right, and only the attempts to get better, then I better do it myself.
Nick, Vic was talking yesterday about how young you guys are on defense, and you think about it, Slay and BG are really the only guys in the regular rotation who are over like 27, 28. What are the positives, I guess, and the negatives of having that young a group on one side of the ball?
Sure. Obviously, when you play together, you gel together, you get more time together. The more plays you play in this league, the more you see, the more football IQ you're going to gain. There was when you watch the Bulls documentary, and Michael Jordan talked about in the game against the Celtics when he scored 63 points, he's like, I just let my youth and my energy go, and I didn't stop. And he said something like that. And I kind of felt like that, like, especially seeing Coop on the field. Like, I just saw his youth and his energy. Now, did we make some mistakes? Sure, we made some mistakes, but I saw him flying to the football. I saw him being physical and violent when he got to the football. And that's for a lot of guys, but I'm thinking about Coop just in my mind right now. And so when that happens, it's exciting. That can be really exciting because you got youth and energy of just flying around to the football. But it's our job as coaches and their job as players to learn the plan, try to put themselves in situations. We try to put them in situations so that we're accelerating that play as much as we possibly can as far as the football IQ goes. And that's where walkthrough comes in and practice comes in.
Anything prior to the bye, the turnovers were certainly a problem you guys were dealing with. Didn't turn it over against the Browns and I don't think had a turnover worthy play. I'm curious, was there something you did during the bye that you implemented in that game that you think worked especially well? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Just, I don't know if I need to, I always want to help you guys do your job. I think you guys know that. I just want to keep some of that in-house. But yeah, we thought a lot about it, and now, and I think we did some things that were different. Not necessarily with how you protect it, but some of the things the way you kind of go about protecting it and drill it and this and that. So yeah, we spent a lot of time on that. And the big emphasis that we want to continue moving on is we want to take the football away. And this was a turnover that Reed had, and just want to celebrate that when we do that. Because we know that when we win that turnover battle, we have a good chance of winning, and that's the entire league, not just the Philadelphia Eagles. But we've been pretty good at it when we have, and so the emphasis that you guys see it. You guys see out there on when we do drills and stuff like that, what our emphasis are, and the ball, taking care of the ball was a big thing, and I think the stat of. You guys can look this up, but I think the stat of us, when we don't turn it over at all, forget about winning the turnover battle, but when we don't turn it over at all, we're at like 16-5. And so it's always going to start with us of how we protect the football offensively and how we take it away defensively.
Nick Saquon had a rough stretch at the end of the first half, where he went out of bounds before the mark, and then the block. When he does that, when he has a rough stretch, what's he like on the sideline? And probably was not his best game, maybe his worst game of the year. What's he like after that?
Again, like I can't say enough good things about him and all the plays that he makes for this football team and the things that, like, even though there might be a mistake that we can point out, but like all the things he does when the ball's not even in his hands and the attention that the defense has. And so I want to say that first and foremost, like everyone's going to make mistakes during the game. It's not a perfect game. There's going to when you're battling and striving for something great, there's going to be errors along the way. There's going to be mistakes along the way, and so those happen. When he has a mistake, I just see a guy who just pushes it out and goes to the next play. I really do, and he's great when other guys have a mistake of just being there to lift him up. He's a great teammate. He leads not only by his play and the person he is, but by example, right? And so that's what you want on any of your leaders. I know he doesn't have a C on his chest for captain, but I have no doubt that he's one of the main leaders on this football team.
And on your
How he and Jalen kind of make each other better. What have you noticed about that so far?
I'm sorry, say that one more time, Mark.
How he and Jalen make each
Saquon?
other.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, shoot, you got two guys in the backfield that can really create explosive plays. So, and I really am impressed by how much they work as far as one thing that's not simple, but I think it gets looked at as simple, is the ball handling in the backfield. Especially when you're running zone reads or RPOs or things like that, because there takes how does Saquon know he's not getting the ball? He doesn't. He's got to and so they work so hard together at that. And so I really admire that of how much Jamal, our running back coach, and Doug, our quarterback coach, do to put them in positions, but then all the extra work that Jalen and Saquon do together, because they know that they can't be great without the greatness of others. That's why this is such a cool team sport. You can't be great without the greatness of others. And then, I think it's when you do run those plays, it's like, all right, pick your poison of which one you want. And so I think that's I mean, it really is on display on some of those plays of, what do you want to stop? Okay, cool. Now you got to go to the other guy. So again, I just go back to that line. You can't be great without the greatness of others.
Divisional matchups.
We'll see. Obviously still have time here. I don't expect them to, I don't expect them to do much at practice today. We'll see how that goes. I don't ever want to put a cap on a guy that I know is going to work his butt off to get back. So we'll see. I mean, he's tough. Dallas is ultra tough, and if anybody can get back to playing faster than what you might anticipate, it's Dallas Goedert.
The players on the depth chart are basically the same as it's been in the past when Dallas has been hurt. But obviously Grant has a bigger role now. How do you think you're different at that spot than when you missed Dallas in the past?
Man, I just think the development of Grant, and Jack Stoll's done a nice job, and I like CJ and EJ, and Albert O, and the guys that are on the practice squad, and so I just think to single Grant out, and Grant's just been on the rise since training, since off season and OTAs and during training camp, and then doing stuff when he doesn't get opportunities with the ball, like. I love the play of Grant when he slice blocked the guy at New Orleans, and he sacrificed his body in Saquon's lane, and it scores a touchdown, and Grant's laying on the ground like this. It's such a cool. Again, you can't be great without the greatness of others in this unbelievable game, and so he's done it without the ball, and then he had a chance to do it with the ball, and so I think just Grant has developed into. He's really worked. Jason Michael's done an awesome job of developing him. And all the credit goes to Grant, though, for how much work he's put in, how much talent he has. And I think, there's a chemistry there with Jalen and Grant as well, with Jalen playing with him in college. And so all those things factor in. But at the end of the day, Grant has done, has been everything we expected as a draft pick when we took him a couple years ago, and then some, and he just keeps getting better. And I'm really excited about as bummed as I could be if Dallas is out, I'll be really excited about his opportunity like he got last week. I'm excited for him.
Nick, I got time for two more.
On the run game you were talking about.
Go ahead. I already got him.
Nick, I know you try to insulate yourself from criticism as much as possible, but when it is as loud as it has been this week, how do you deal with it on a personal level, and has that changed throughout your time on the job?
No, just try to, again, control what you can control, and all my focus and energy is on this football team and how we get better today. That's all my energy can be focused on is how we go out there today. We're still in meetings. We're having a little break right now, but then we'll go back to meetings, and it's going to have to be high detail in meetings. And that starts with me as the coach of, do I put them in every position that they possibly can be in? And then, full speed to the snap and walk through. When your mind is focused on that, like when your mind's focused on other things, then you're not going to get, I think John Wooden has a quote, and I had it last week, but when your mind's focused on other things that you can't control, the things you can control don't get as good as they possibly can. He didn't say it like that. I brutalized that right there. But if I'm focusing on things that I can't control, then I can't do my job is to get, if I want these guys to get better every single day, I better work on getting better every single day. And sometimes that getting better is, it's always about admitting your mistakes, whether it's after a game, whether it's during the game, whether it's something you did at practice. And so that's my only focus and my only goal.
All right, last one.
When it comes to
there's no handbook to being an NFL coach. I wonder in your years here, how do you feel like you've evolved as far as how to handle the non-football parts of the job, interfacing with fans and media? And are you still kind of trying to strike a balance of like how much to show and be your authentic self, and when and how to rein that in?
Sure, I think you always have to be your authentic self, but you know what? Maybe your authentic self's only, for your players and for in the building, right? And there's a time and place for that. I'm not going to stop thanking the fan at any away game. I'm not going to stop thanking the fans after a win on the away games. That I can do some of that and be your authentic self while still, keep, again. But you're always a work in progress. Like I think I've made a lot of strides as far as my composure during the game. That not being said, this at a certain time after this week, I think this is probably the wrong time to say that. But you know what? You're never going to be perfect. You always got to stay true to yourself, and you're always trying to improve yourself. And so, but it's not, like I said, this is how climbing and getting better of the things that you want to get better at as a man, as a person, it goes like this, right? It goes like this. We'd all love it for it to do this, but that's not the reality of life. That's not the reality of getting better. That's not the reality of growth mindset. You have setbacks, you have falls as you go, and yeah, and so I think it's just learning from those things and try to still be on this path, even though there's going to be some dips in that path.
All right, thank you. We got a meeting.